Alright folks, so here's an update on the Chevelle frame. So I've been cleaning up and trying to get this frame straightened out. And it's not done yet. I gotta clean up the inside of the frame obviously. But right now I'm not really completely worried about this section, the actual frame horns. I'm just worried about where the body sits right now. And I will go up and, we're gonna clean the whole thing. But I'm trying to, clean up everything I can't really get to now before I set that body back on the frame. So basically from the back of the A-arm right there all the way back, I want to clean up really good. So we got a little bit of frame rust. This is a little bit scary, so but I think we're going to get lucky in this situation because we got a little bit of rot right there. So the top of the frame is perfectly fine, so it's nothing structural right there that is going to compromise the structural integrity right there. So that looks pretty good. The underneath of it is okay. I don't see anything underneath there that's going to hurt anything. So it's just this side. So a lot of times what happens is these frames, I actually more for, I'm kind of 50-50, but I'm more for a box frame. And a lot of people always talk about a box frame. You get a bunch of dirt and trash and everything else, salt from the roads, and it gets down in here and it lays down in here and there's no way to get it out. And a box frame kind of traps everything in there, and then the frame rots itself from the inside out. And that's kind of what happens with these frames on the front section right here, and then that section, and obviously that section's open. Usually they don't rot, but really bad, they usually get really bad right in the rear section right here, over your rear end right here. But mine's pretty good. But I am gonna go and clean the inside of these frame rails up real good where I can't really get to. But I'm gonna probably just take me a maybe a rifle brush or something and get up in there, because I want every inch of this frame cleaned up. It's not trying to make a show car here, but I want it cleaned up and done properly. I'm very picky about stuff like that, and it's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I don't like halfway doing something. So, but the only reason I'm doing it the way I'm doing it now is because I'm trying to clean the whole frame up, which I am, but I want to clean up from the back of the A-arms back for now. And then I want to get the body mounts ordered and then figure out what's what with that. Make sure we got the bolts correct. That was a lot of the issue before. Is the whole car was, completely. This really should be named the basket case instead of my C10 here. But this whole car was just so out of whack. It wasn't funny. Nothing lined up right. The doors lined up halfway decent. The trunk lid lined up halfway decent. But it just, everything was so out of whack. So I'm just basically starting all over again. That's why I took the body off. We're going to clean the frame up, and I'm going to fix this rust right here. I'm not scared of this. Now, again, if this was all the way up underneath the frame instead of being on the side like it is, this frame I would deem unsafe and just salvage. I mean, it's something, I'm very picky about. You don't play around with frames like that. And I don't like welding on frames because, you don't want to affect any of the structural integrity on the frame. You don't want to go down the road and the frame just break in half. That's very unsafe. But in this situation, we got lucky. It's just the side frame rail. It's not on top. It's not up underneath. So, it's very solid right there. So I'll even, go back here. So it's just up in there. So everything is very solid. It's no issues there. So it's just got a little bit of rot like right in here. Just a little bit at the edge right there. But it's nothing crazy. Our frame rail is good and solid. This side is good and solid right here. It's just that little section, and it's just from dirt and salt and everything else from the roast just laying down in there, and it just rots it out. So, and again, it did not affect the underneath of it, so it did not affect any of that up underneath, so we're good to go there. So, but that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna cut that section out. And you know, you got to be very careful about that, because you could throw a lot of stuff out of whack if you don't know what you're doing. And you know, I don't know everything, I know I don't, but in this case, you know, we're not really affecting anything. We don't really have the weight of the body, so the frame can't flex or anything like that on it. And you know, we could throw a couple boards under it, and you know, if we want it like one here, just to, you know, be safe. But you know, because that way if we cut that out, the frame don't flex or anything. But I think we'll be all right. You know, I'm overthinking a little bit. We'll just cut this out, and we'll weld a new piece in, and well, that'll probably be it. So, not too scared about that. And the other side, it's got a couple pinholes, but it's not quite as bad as that. And that's the worst spot on the whole frame. But there is a couple little pinholes that are just starting right there, but it's nothing crazy. So I think we got lucky right there. So this side is really structurally sound. I noticed that somebody came in here sometime or another, probably because that side was starting to rot out. They took a torch and cut this side out, because that's actually closed in on that side if you look at it. So somebody had cut that out. It's got a little bit of rot right there, but nothing crazy. And then we come to this side, you can see where somebody took a cut-off wheel and cut it out, which that's fine. That's open. That makes it nice, because now it can actually, it won't affect anything right there. So that's really good. So I might end up doing that on the other side as well, just to help it out. I'll just trim that little section out. And you know, that's not going to compromise any of the structural integrity or anything like that, because this frame is super solid, other than that one spot there. But I might come in here and just take a grinder, and I might end up taking a welder there and just welding them up and just grind them off, because that's really pretty minimum right there. But I think we'll be all right. Spent the time, clean the frame up really good. It's not done. I got to get all this up inside these frame rails real good. And like I said, right now I'm just from the A-arms back is all I'm worried about. I will get all that too, but you know, I want to do this the right way. The other reason why I'm leaving it, you know, I'm not really worried about the front, is we're going to put new ball joints and, you know, A-arm bushings and all that good stuff too. So, you know, it's kind of no point that, you know, I don't want to take all this stuff off. I'm not ready for that. You know, most people be like, well, I'll just go and just take all that off, clean the whole frame up, and then be done. And then you got everything apart in a million pieces, and you know, I'm not ready for that. I just want to do from here back for now, and then later on when I'm, you know, get a little more money and all that. You know, it takes money to do this stuff. You know, this stuff ain't cheap. And you know, I want to take and order new ball joints. We'll pull that off, and then we'll clean the frame up, paint the frame, and then we'll put everything back together. You know, I want it done properly, and you know, that's why I don't, you know, I'm not worried about that, because we're going to have to come back, take all that, disassemble all that anyway. But I want to leave it all together for now, because I don't want it apart in a million pieces. So all our body mounts look really good. Got a little bit of pitting right there, just a little bit, but it's not that bad. Most people just cut that out and they'll just take a washer and weld it in, you know, if it's really bad around the body mounts. But these are not body mounts, by the way, so keep that in mind. That is your body mount there. That's your second body mount. That's your third body mount. And you got your fourth body mount right there, fifth one, and your sixth one. So it's 12 body mounts total. So same thing on the passenger side right here. Rear one, this goes underneath the taillight panel on these two. And you got your trunk brace right here that goes right here. And on the other side, then you got your other trunk brace, where the actual floor pan from this point up to the toe boards joins your trunk pan where they meet together. There's a seam right here. And on that brace on the trunk pan, there's 2 body mounts there and there. And then we got a body mount right here and there. That one's got a little bit of pitting, but it's not horrible. And then you got the last one right there. That one goes underneath the firewall. These, I see a couple people made a mistake, and you know, obviously you would know when you put the body back on the frame. But they put body mounts right there, so those are not body mounts. Those are just like an access hole, more or less, or a drain hole. But that's, you know, basically to sum it up. And again, that's why, you know, I'm gonna clean the whole thing up inside these frame rails up real good and get all this out of there, clean it up real good. And most of that is just surface rust. You know, it's nothing scaly or anything like that. Like I said, the worst spot on the whole frame is right there. And I think we'll be just fine. I'll cut that out, and we're not going to compromise anything, you know, by doing that. And then we'll weld a piece in it, and then if I have to, I'll make a plate and I'll extend it past that from there to there, and then we'll weld both sides up if I really have to. And I would love to box this frame, I really would. But, you know, something like this frame I would love to box. You know, I'd love to box it up because it would really make it super nice, make it ride a lot better. And, you know, I'd like to box it there and then box it, you know, completely all the way around. And, you know, just to stiffen it up. And, you know, I'm not drag racing. I just want to build a nice driver 67 Chevelle. This is just a Malibu. It's not a super sport. And, you know, I want to build a Tribute 327 for it. And put a 4-speed in it, and just have fun with it. You know, I want a bare bones car, you know, a radio delete car, manual steering, manual brakes. I don't want power anything on this. That's the way I've always wanted this car. A lot of people go, you know, oh, you need power steering, blah, 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 blah. No, not something like this. This car is, you know, it's a mid-sized car. It's not that heavy, you know, it's not like our Biscayne right here. And we'll be just fine. I like a bare bones car, and you know, I don't see the point of spending the money on power steering, power brakes, and all that, and you know, drum brakes at that, because I don't want disc brakes on this. So I want to keep this car pretty much original. For the most part, it's not original, but it's original in a different aspect. But you know, I just you know, I just want a bare bones Chevelle. You know, basically, I just think they're cool, and you know, I could always add a radio later on, you know, put it in the glove box or whatever. But you know, this car I want to clean up, make it really nice. And again, I'm not trying to build a show car, but I want the car to be safe. And you know, I don't like halfway doing stuff. And I did remove this fuel line, by the way. And we're gonna trim that end down just a little bit more probably. But I'm gonna remove that again, and it does go through this frame rail. I had a comment on that. But it does go through, the fuel line comes through right here. There's our clip. And it goes through right there. And that's the way it came from the factory. That's the way all cars are. Lots of people, Chevelle people, you know that. And but the frame, hole in the frame right there, the fuel line goes right through there, through that little slot, and then it comes through. And it comes through right here. So it comes right through at that hole, and then it ties into your fuel pump right here. So that's the way it is. It does not go around the frame, because if you go around it, in my opinion, you know, it's going to be closer to the exhaust, and I want the fuel line, you know, as far away as possible from any type of exhaust heat. And you know, if you really want it, you could put a rubber insulator or something around the fuel line, so you ain't got to worry about rubbing or anything. But you know, I don't think you really would have a problem with that, because you know, this is a 60-year-old car just about, and you know, it's been on there 60-some years. Well, not that fuel line, but the original fuel line, and you know, it's no issues. Even the fuel line on my Biscayne here, this is the original factory fuel line. I've never even messed with it. It goes through the frame rail as well. That's kind of a GM thing they did, but I just figured I'd show that. But it comes through. That's hard to see, but well, this one doesn't. Never mind. It actually goes on the outside of the frame. But on this Chevelle, it does go through the frame. So, and the other thing too, the nice thing about this is, you know, when I get my Chevelle cleaned up and get it, you know, put together here, when I'm ready to come back to the Biscayne and all that, you know, I want to take an, we'll have to brace this body up, because this body, you know, I really don't want to risk lifting it because it's just rot to pieces. But this Chevelle, you know, it's enough material there, it's enough strength in the body, and I'm not scared to take that off the frame. But this Biscayne, we're going to have to brace up for sure, because I don't want to compromise any structural integrity. And the body is, you know, on this car, it's going to have to come off the frame. You know, I always believe in, I don't like halfway doing stuff. And, you know, as old as this car is, you know, I'd like to spend the extra time. Yeah, it might take a weekend or two, you know, to take the body off, clean it up and all that. But when you put it all back together, you'll have a nice, it'll be a higher outcome. It'll be a nicer car. You know, you can address everything all at one time. And you know, you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, I know this ain't the, you know, the proper right way to do this, but, you know, I want to address everything all at one time, clean the frame up really good, and probably going to get some POR 15, something like that, and I'll do it, but I don't know yet. But I got to get me an air compressor because I want to use a spray gun. I do not want to brush on. I think that looks kind of, you know, crappy looking. You know, I want things to look nice. I don't want to see a bunch of brush strokes in my frame. You know, I want things to look nice. You know, I know I'm not building a show car, but, you know, I like having a little pride in my stuff, and, you know, I like doing things a certain way. I know I'm kind of particular here, but, you know, I like to do things a certain way. So, but where I'm getting at is the Biscayne is eventually, you know, when I'm ready, we'll brace that car up. I want to take that off the frame and, you know, spend the time on it and do it right and address everything all at one time. And that car, you know, we're going to take the body off anyway, and then we'll brace it up really, really good. And that car, we're going to put floor pans in it, you know, from the firewall back, because that car is really rough. But that's going to be a future project. I do want to get back on that. And again, if you got a 59 Biscayne, and the video is not really about that, but I need this piece of trim, send it to me. And I'm really interested in it. It's extremely hard to find and been looking forever. It's got to be for a 2-door though. For a, well, not a 2-door, a 4-door. So I need this, just this one piece of trim. That's all I'm missing on this car. I got every single piece of this car except for that piece of trim right there. That's it. I just need it for the driver's side. But it's a Biscayne only piece of trim, and I need that. So, and I'm gonna find that. But this is the nice side of the car. But that's why I'd like to take time and do this stuff right. I mean, I know I'm not perfect, just a shade tree guy, but look at that frame. It looks so much better. And I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna come back and take this. This is a brand new, doesn't look like it, but take that parking cable out. It's just a clip. You know, just pop that out. That'll pull right out. Same thing with back here. These are brand new parking cables. And I'll pop them out and just drop them down. Probably won't take them all the way out. Not going to worry about cleaning up my rim or my A-arms right now, because all the A-arms are going to have to be, you know, rebushinged anyway. So that's why, you know, we're going to take it all apart anyway. When we take it apart, we'll clean all that up and then do the rear end, you know, separately. But my main thing right now is just focusing on the frame. That's the main thing, just from that point back. And then the rest of the rear end, the front suspension, we're going to have to rebuild that anyway. So, but it's little details like that, and I'm going to pull this brake line off as well. And a little bit of overspray on it, but I'll take a little paint thinner and I'll wipe that off. But, you know, I'd like to clean the frame up. We're going to paint the frame, probably get some POR 15, I'll thin it, whatever I got to do. And if I got to break down, get me an air compressor to spray this frame, that's what I'll do, because I want it to look nice, you know. And I want it to last. But I know it's not perfect. I know sure it's going to be pits, you know, and all that when you paint it, you know. You're not really in the real world. I know you're not going to see this frame, but I'll know about it, and it's the fact of, you know, I like to make things done right, you know. Can't stress that enough. But it's just little details. I'm going to take all these brake lines off. These are brand new brake lines, and get some paint through it. I'll get that little bit of overspray off of it, and we'll get all that off, and then I'm going to flush all that out. I'll probably just take some compressed air and blow them all out, and I gotta get me an air compressor And then when we paint the fray, we'll put everything back on, and then we'll set the body back on it with the new body mounts and make sure everything is right. And then from that point, then we'll put our trunk pan in it, then fix our bottom of the quarters, and then put our doors on it, put our front clip back on it, and then shim it whatever we need to do to get the gaps correct, and then go from there. But that is the plan. And once we get that, get the car back together so everything opens and shuts properly, then we'll take and we'll clean up, start working on the body. We'll clean up the windshield channel and all that good stuff. And I'm not trying to build a show car, but I want things addressed on it. It's almost a 60-year-old car. It's just time to fix stuff on it. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. That's why I like going the extra mile on it and address it now. Because if you don't address it now, another 5-10 years, it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And it's better to address this stuff now. But we'll have to clean up the windshield channel. These are kind of a nightmare on these cars because they rot really, really bad. There is actually drain holes in the corner, but 9 times out of 10 they're plugged off. The last one's halfway rotted out. So, but nice thing is they repop a lot of stuff for these cars, but you kind of get what you get on it. But that is the plan so far. Just wanted to make a little update, and that'll be really, really nice. So here, I'll show you all the body mounts before we end the video. But there is one right there. This is your back seat is this way. But there's one body mount right there. That's just a drain hole. This is actually for the fuel line. I forgot about that. So yep, see, there's the fuel line. It bends around and comes around and goes right here. Your gas tank sits right here, obviously. And then this is your other body mount. And something else you want to keep in mind on body mounts is make sure they're free. Because if they're rusted, stuck, or whatever, then you'll have a heck of a time when you put everything together. It's going to be stuck down like that, and then you never be able to get a bolt in. So make sure you can come in there and line them up and center it up. So always keep that in mind too. But so you got one there. This is behind the back seat. That's 2 right there. This is 3 on the brace, and then it would be 4 right here because I took this brace off, and then this would be 5 right there. It moves, and this is 6. So very, very simple. Your gas tank straps go right there and there, and then also tie in over here. So makes it really, really nice. But I think these braces are okay, so not too worried about that. But these braces are really out of whack, and they put these things on a jig before they stamp the whole pan. And everything was just way out of whack. And I'm gonna have to actually move these body mounts. I'm gonna have to come in here and splice these. You get what you pay for. You pay all this money. And this trunk pan was about, I think, $500, maybe $550 back in 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. Now it's probably like $700-800. It's just ridiculous. But you get what you pay for. But this body mount, I have to double check, can't remember for sure. I think I'm going to have to move it over about this much. So, and I know for a fact, I had that body lined up perfectly on that frame. And there's a couple videos back where I did that, and it's actually in this brace. It is not, the brace itself, the stamping's nice, but when they punched the hole out, it should have been more over in this area. So everything was just out of whack on this car, and that's just the clips for the fuel lines. But and then these right here, you got these 3 little holes. That's just drain holes for your floor pans, and they're the same drain plugs that are they actually just glued them in. It's like a tar. They just laid in on the other side and then just set them in there. But not a big deal if you're wondering about that. But I got to move all that over, and I got to drill every single spot weld on these, adjust these out, and it's just way out of whack. I'm probably going to have to figure out the same thing back here too on these body mounts. But So I'm not really even going by the body mounts now to line them up to the frame. I'm actually going by this slot. So as long as this is centered up, you know, that's roughly the center right there. That's where the fuel filler neck is. So it's got to be able to clear that, and you want that centered up. So the center of that is right there roughly. And you just want to center that up with the frame rail, and the rest of them will just move the body mounts around to where they need to be. So we'll center that up with the center right there, and I think we'll call it good. Because the way I look at it is, as long as the body mounts and I had everything lining up, everything lines up perfect. You know, from those body mounts, those body mounts, those body mounts, everything lined up beautifully. And then when we put the trunk pan, those body mounts didn't fit. Those didn't fit. Those were way out of whack. And then those were way, way off. So that's what told me, you know, if everything's right here, well, it's in a trunk pan. So that's what it is. So that's what I'm going to do is I'll just cut little slots, move the body mounts around, make it fit correctly. Want them back up, and then there you go. That should take care of all the issues, because I think the stamping itself is fine. It's just the placement of the body mounts on that trunk pan and these braces is just poor. Because again, they put them on a jig, they send them on a jig, they're supposed to align everything, and then they spot weld everything in. So that's been the issue the whole time. I kept thinking that this car was rear-ended or something, and this frame is very, very straight. Now I did this, if you saw that, I did that. That's where I hooked to come along to it and pulling on it. You know, I could straighten that out. So I did that. You know, I was hooked to trees and kept winching on that body to get it squared with the frame. So I did that, and then I also did this right here, unfortunately. But again, that could be fixed. I did that when I was trying to, you know, hook to this car. I had to spin this car. You know, if you don't know, if you're new, I had to spin this whole car 180 degrees around because it was trapped for 2.5 years behind 2 sheds, because the clowns that, you know, deliver my sheds, you know, say, oh, okay, we'll just, you know, put them behind the car. Yeah, he'll get out, you know, not our problem. You know, but that's done over. But all right, I'm gonna end the video, and that's kind of where we're at with it. And I'm gonna keep cleaning this thing up and get it as possibly clean as we can get it. And main thing is cleaning really, really good up inside these frame rails. And you know, I want to clean this thing up really, really good. So, and then won't be long. We'll get our body mounts. I'm gonna order all new body mounts for it, and we're just gonna start all over with it and see what we got, and kind of go from there and just kind of start off fresh. Sometimes it's better off just to take, in this case, start completely from scratch and then build it up, because then that way, you know, if the body's on the frame right, that's right, the trunk pan's right, then, you know, when you patch the bottom, the quarters, they'll be right. Then you put the doors on, the front clip, etc., etc., everything's going to line up right. And, you know, eliminate all those issues. But and then we are going to come in here, you know, as well, before we set the body back on the frame again. You know, I'm not trying to build a show car, but I want everything done properly. And we're going to fix some stuff on this thing. We're going to go underneath this car, and we're going to clean the whole underneath of it up while we got access to it. And I'm not too worried about, you know, cleaning up the wheel wells. We'll patch them, of course, you know, because we got access to them. But I want to clean all this floor pan up really, really good. Again, it ain't going to be 100% perfect. I know that, but I want to clean everything up. And I'm probably going to end up undercoating everything again. That's what I'd like to do, just kind of freshen the whole underneath of it up really nice. And do it while we got access to it, so it'll make it nice. But we'll have to remember to tape off our body mount holes so we don't get undercoating in there and then, you know, have a nightmare trying to get the bolts thread it back in. So, but I think that'll be the plan. But sometimes it's just better off to go that direction. I know that wheel well looks like it's, you know, been in pretty good, so I did that. But I gotta straighten it out a little bit, but yep, we'll have a really, really nice car to be a really solid, safe car, and It'd be really clean underneath, and then also, I want this car to be right, because I am putting regular tags on it, and then you know what that entails. The dreaded state inspection. I don't like state inspection, can't stand it. Won't get into all the details. I'll just say I think it's unconstitutional, really, and people are going to drive what they're going to drive. It doesn't make the roads no safer, in my opinion, because people are going to drive what they're going to drive. But alrighty, see y'all later. Bye.